Today's discussion is going to be a little bit different than what I usually do because I spend a lot of time warning you guys what to look out for that's going to hurt you, what to look out for that's, full of tricks and lies and games. In this video, I want to respond to some of the requests that have come in that I address the women who are tired of dating. They're tired of being single. They want to get married. They want to have a family. They want to have a man that they love and who loves them back. The problem is that they're having a very difficult time connecting with that particular type of guy. And, if they do meet a guy, they're like, well, I don't know what to do. Obviously, something's going on wrong. I'm choosing wrong. Or, the guys, there's something about me that they don't really like. And I don't know, what to do about it to get the, kind of relationship that I'm really looking for. So what can I do different? And I'm going to address those questions because really getting a man to fall in love with you is not hard. The key issue is to make sure that he's somebody that you want to be in love with you. Now, see, that's that we read news stories all the time about women who have dudes in love with them, and then the dudes flip the fuck out and want to kill them and stuff like that. I mean, beat on their ass and all this kind of crazy shit. And that's why it's very important that you understand what I have been sharing with you about how to weed out men that are wrong. Okay? You got to do that part first. If he's not the right kind of dude, get rid of him immediately before you get any feelings, before he gets any feelings involved. He's got to go. But say you meet somebody and he's pretty cool and you want to figure out, how far can this go and what can I do with this particular dude? So this is what I'm going to share with you. You want to know how to become the kind of woman that a guy would want to be in a long-term relationship with and or married to. And the number one thing that you need to understand is that men love the chase. Okay, so all you women talking about, I'll do this and that for my man, and I'll kiss his ass and I'll wipe his chin for him when he eats, and there's a certain amount of pampering and nurturing that is required. But you can't have this mentality that you're going to do everything in the world for this man. You can't do that. You can't chase men. You can't call them all the time. You can't always be asking them out. You can't be paying for all the dates. You can't be doing too much. You have to let him express his interest and let him come towards you. That is the number one thing that I think so many women who are in this mindset where they want to get a relationship, get married, have a husband, whatever. This is the shit that you guys fuck up. This is where you mess up right here. And you spend entirely too much time seeking him out and trying to do shit for him. That is a gross error. That is not the dynamic under which a man will fall in love. He has to feel like he's pursuing you. It's as ancient as cavemen days. That's where that comes from. So if you doing too much and you making shit all easy for him, he don't have to do nothing, you doing everything, he's never going to fall in love with you. He'll be with you because it's convenient and easy. He'll use the fuck out of you until he gets tired, and then he'll go with the woman who makes him put in some work to get her. Now, the reason, okay, that's point number one. And the reason why that is the foundation of a man falling for you is because he's looking for point number two, which is for you to have some, project some confidence and some self-esteem. The dudes want you to cater to them and everything, like I said, but it has to be balanced. Everything can't be one-sided. You can't feel like you have to do these things for him, otherwise he's going to leave you. You're doing this shit for him out of fear of loss, out of fear that he's going to go somewhere else, that a fear that you're not good enough, so you have to make up for all the things that you're lacking by being his fucking slave. Don't do that. That's not good. That's never going to inspire a man's passionate love and commitment is not going to happen. No matter what they say on these videos, if you listen to these nignogs all over YouTube talking about these slave things that they want from women, yeah, they're going to be with you and they're going to use you. But if you notice, the men that those comments are coming from have already proclaimed that they have no real interest in loving a woman. They want a woman for the services that she's going to provide. They want a woman for, to pump and dump and to use her. So keep in mind, when you're hearing this stuff, keep in mind who's saying it and that particular individual's history of making statements about relationships with women. Okay? Use your brain. Don't be stupid. So let's move on. Let's talk about this confidence and self-esteem. And this, to me, is a key problem. It starts in the teenage years for most young women. I mean, throughout my years of providing advice, I've likened it to an epidemic. Self-esteem, low self-esteem is so prevalent amongst women. It's just ridiculous. I mean, it's prevalent amongst dudes too. It just presents itself in a slightly different way. But you have to be comfortable with who you are. You have to feel confident, and you have to be sexy, and you have to be smart and worth something and have value in your own eyes. If you don't have that, if you feel like you're less, that you have to make up for something, that you're lacking, and all of that, it's going to come across in the way that you interact with men. And you will attract users and abusers. But a guy who's really looking for a woman who's all about herself and, who's got her shit together and, um, who he can really be proud of and look up to and admire and all that kind of stuff, he's not going to pick you because you don't have your shit together. Your mind's not right. So, these guys are looking for, I don't know, they want a woman who can handle shit, um, who is sexy and who comes across as confident and who comes across as somebody who can handle stuff, who's, she's beautiful, she knows she's beautiful, but she doesn't necessarily, use that as her main catch point. She's looking for something deeper. And she can joke with guys. She can put out there what it is that she's expecting. She can let him know, if you don't give it to me, I'm out. She's not trying to hang on to him just because he's a man and she, doesn't want to be single. I mean, guys pick up on all of those kinds of things. If you project those kind of desperate thoughts and belief systems and behaviors, you're never going to get a man that's really going to love you. Like I said, he's going to be around there as long as it's convenient for him to be, and then he's going to be out. And that's not what you want, right? So you have to get yourself together. You got to get your mind right about your own level of confidence and how you value yourself as a woman. You have to really think that you're a good catch. You have to think that you're sexy. You have to think that you're something that men want. And if you can project that in the way you walk, in the way you talk, in the way you smile at men in your conversation, I mean, if you can project all of that, then they'll be very, very attracted to you. Okay, so let's move on. Point 3. I met this chick, right, and she bought a house. I mean, she's very accomplished, very professional, I mean, high wage earner, all that. This girl, she'd owned her own home. And here in California, that's no easy feat. So she was making bank. So she buys this house and then she brags to me, telling me, well, I've never used the stove in my kitchen. I've never even turned it on. And I'm looking at her like, okay, why are you proud of that? And she's like, well, because I go out and I this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking at her like, this is a dumb bitch. Okay, I'm a woman and I was thinking that. So imagine what a guy who's serious, a guy who's looking for a woman that he can be married to, that's going to be the mother of his children, that he's looking to provide nutritious meals for the family. How is he going to take that? Okay, she was stupid. I can't even say anything. I mean, I can't be polite about it. The broad was dumb. So the number one thing that you need, and if you have daughters and sons, I mean, everybody needs to know how to cook. You an adult, you eat, your ass needs to know how to fucking cook a meal. Or, at least have a good basic 12 meals that you can make without a recipe that you can make at the drop of a hat. Everyone should know that by the time they're 16, 17 years old. So if you parents have not taught your kids how to do that, you've fallen down on the job. They should go into their 20s at least knowing how to cook. Okay, some pretty decent food, and to understand what a balanced, nutritious meal is. So this particular chick, right? By her bragging that she can't cook, that eliminated her from a lot of very decent dudes. Um, I mean, they just like were like, there's nothing I can do with that. She's very pretty. She's very smart. But that attitude that she had was all kinds of fucked up. And nobody who wants to have a family is going to want to be with a woman who refuses to prepare meals for her family. So, she shot herself in the foot on there. So, not a lot of people say, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. And that might be true. And it definitely does work if you're a good cook and you run into a bachelor, especially if dude's not that good of a cook himself and you're a really good cook. You want to get some attention from him? Invite his ass over for a home cooked meal. He will break speed records and go be flying through things like OJ did in the old Hertz commercials. Leaping over shit, doing the Heisman Trophy pose, and flying over shit to get to your house. And if you have it smelling good when he walks in the door, everything's nice and clean, and it smells good. He's gonna walk in there with his stomach grumbling, and then you feed him a good meal. It has been my experience that if you do that a time or two, motherfuckers don't even want to leave. They just want to stay there for the next meal. And it's like you got to practically serve an eviction notice to make them leave. But, if you're a woman who wants to get a man to fall in love with you and marry you and have a family with you and stuff, that is a good technique. I mean, it sounds crazy, it sounds very old fashioned, but it does work. And I can tell you that for a fact. Guys who are single, I mean, some of them could cook, but they get tired of scrounging up a meal and going out to eat, in restaurants and fast food and all that stuff. They would love a home cooked meal, especially, like I said, if you are a really good cook, then he's going to be like, well, hot damn, I done hit the jackpot right here. She cute, she's smart, we get along, and she can feed my black ass. I'm in heaven. And that's how they think about it. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. You have to respect yourself. Now, this is slightly different from the confidence and self esteem thing because the respect yourself comes in with establishing boundaries and maintaining standards, saying no, and that kind of thing. It's very different. It's like it sets a tone for the relationship. It lets the guy know how he has to come at you in order for him to maintain a connection with you. A guy who's right in the mind, who's trying to find a woman he's gonna wife up, as they say, he will appreciate that and respect it even more and respect you accordingly because of how you conduct yourself. And you're looking at, whoa, what are they doing? Donuts in the street? What the hell? If you lay down, like a carpet, you're going to get walked on. And guys don't really respect women like that. You got to stand up for yourself. You have to clearly communicate from the time that you meet him what the parameters are under which, he'll be allowed into your life. And if he gets out of pocket or he says some shit that, is like just not the way that he should be talking to you, you got to let him know what the repercussions are for his behavior towards you, and it may involve, cutting off all contact. But it's only fair that you let him know that. Don't broadside him with that information after the fact. Ain't nobody a psychic mind reader. You got to tell him. And then, I mean, if he does it the one time, you say, look here, that's just not gonna fly here. You need to treat me with the respect that I deserve. So you do this X, Y, Z, whatever. This is gonna be over because I can't tolerate that kind of behavior. I refuse to. And if that's the way that you think that you should be treating me, then we obviously are on the wrong. We with the wrong people. And I just want to let you know that's just not gonna work with me. And you just tell them. Let them know that you care about them and you'll treat them good and all that stuff, but that you're not going to accept any kind of disrespectful treatment of your home, of yourself, or his behavior in the relationship, and just let him know that shit is not that's not going to work for me. Another thing you need to do is consider is be good in bed. Now think about it. When you get married to somebody, you're in a long-term relationship, you become responsible for each other. I mean, each of you becomes responsible for each other's sexual satisfaction. Sex is a part of most adult relationships. I mean, there's no way around that. And, you just got to factor that in. So, think about it. What does he like? Are you guys on the same page? You guys like the same thing? I mean, if he's into butt sex and you not into that, that means you two on the wrong page from the get go. You need to let that go. But if he like, what you find that what he likes and what he likes is what you like, then give it to him. A lot of women worry about, the guy tipping out, creeping, or going, leaving them for some other woman, all that stuff. I'll be talking about that in another video, maybe even tomorrow. But, you got to figure out if what he wants is going to work for you. Because I've been listening to some of these YouTube videos. These dudes are talking about, they want a blowjob every day. Well, what does that do for her, though? I mean, you busted in that, but how is that helping her? I mean, you know what I mean? She got sexual feelings as well, desires. And you didn't mention nothing about what you was gonna do for her, just what you want her to do for you. Fuck that shit. See, that's what I mean. You got to really figure out what the man is talking about and make sure that what he's talking about is something that you find interesting and appealing. Because see, that's some selfish one-sided bullshit right there. It's like sex in a situation of a couple or marriage. It's supposed to be for both people, not just one. You're not gonna be getting your jollies, and I'm just sitting there. Fuck that shit. That's bullshit. So, you just think about it. They want like spontaneous sex. They want all this, random blowjobs and all this kind of stuff. I mean, I know some women might want to do that, especially if she's on her menstrual cycle or something. Maybe she don't want to, do anything. But that doesn't mean she won't do something for him. But for you to go into the relationship demanding it, no, nigga, no. You need to go pay your $50 and get you a hooker and handle that business. Because that's putting that kind of demand on somebody that just because she's in a relationship with you, that's fucking bullshit. Okay, another thing that men like is, they want, okay, you looking good, right? You tight, you was hitting the gym, doing your aerobics and whatnot. So, you showed them you had this tight spandex mini skirt on and your stilettos and, you was looking all good. Everything was all nice, tight, and right. Well, he wants you to keep it that way. Now, admittedly, once people start having children or getting older, hormones change and you store fat in different places. That's not what I'm talking about. What they're talking about is, whatever the guy finds to be sexy, and it makes his dick hard. I mean, I hate to be so blunt, but that's the reality. Whatever that is, that physical attraction that he has to you, you must do what you need to do to maintain that or even enhance it. Dudes like different things, so there's no one answer to this question. Some dudes like women with big butts, some don't like really slim, thin women. Some like women with big boobs, some like really, more smaller, more androgynous looking women. Some like long hair, some like short. Some don't care. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just such a variety of things there. You just got to find out what your dude likes, and whatever it was that he liked about you, just make sure that you keep doing that thing, whatever that is, and that will, keep him happy, and it would, make him move more and more towards wanting to have something long term with you. Another point that you need to consider is that you need to be mentally engaging and fun to be around. There's a lot of women that are just fucking boring. I mean, I don't even know. You guys are so boring. It's like, as a woman, I can't even talk to you. You don't have shit to talk about. Your brains don't do nothing. You don't read. You have no hot creative hobbies. You have no interest other than a man and watching television and maybe your kids. That's it, and your little job. Okay, how long is it going to take somebody to run through all the information connected with those four things? What, a month? Okay, then the nigga's gone. Okay, because you're boring as fuck. So you need to, put them fashion magazines down and your shopping conversation and your rapper conversation, and you pick up a book. Look at something online about politics and philosophy and theater and art and other kinds of music, not rap. And, I mean, do you work out? Do you do any exercise? Do you follow any sports? I mean, a lot of dudes are into sports. Do you know what he's talking about when he's talking about his sporting things? Can you put on some sneakers and take it to the hoop with the dude? Can you barbecue? Do you know how to bowl? And do you know how to play chess, checkers, Chinese checkers, dominoes? I don't know, card games. Something that you could do with him besides just sit up there and screw him and then watch TV. That's just boring as all hell. Can you carry on an intelligent conversation? You need to be able to talk about a wide variety of topics so that the time he spends with you is mentally stimulating. You know what I mean? It's like nobody wants to be with a dumb broad except a dumb fool man, and then both of you are boring. He has to see you as a cool and interesting person that he's excited to talk to. If he's excited to talk to you, you're open to trying new things. You bring a light and an excitement to his life. Because if you really think about it, most men's lives are really boring. They're boring. They're boring, 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 boring. They get a lot of their excitement from women. Either chasing new pussy, or the woman that they have that's the consistent pussy is somebody they consider to be a really good friend and that they can really talk to, that really knows them, understands them, and that gets them. Okay, that's very important to men. So don't brush off his hobbies and interests. Try to learn what it is that he finds so intriguing. I'm not saying you have to adopt all his hobbies and interests to yourself. Just understand why he likes them. Okay, and maybe you can have a conversation about that. Another thing that's very important is when a guy comes into your environment, as well as when he's around you, things need to be neat and tidy. um, I don't know, men tend to be kind of slobs, except for my brothers. Good lord, those boys, they are like, they were neater than me. Their shit was like they was in the army or something. I don't know, I whatever. But anyway, that's what dudes tend to like. They tend to like, neat and clean, smelling good. So if you got a nasty house, you don't be washing dishes from one day to the next. You got piles of dirty laundry all over the place, smelling up the joint. Funky shoes around. Your carpet ain't been vacuumed for 2 weeks. Your sheets are funky. I mean, the bathroom looks toe up. It's like stains in the toilet and shit like that. See, you got to think about stuff like that. And I don't care that you have kids. Make the motherfuckers do some housework and clean up. They live there too. And past the age of 5, they can do some shit. Make them do some work. And so you got a guy coming over. I mean, he's gonna want to make sure. See, you guys don't understand the connection of the nurturing mind that guys are looking for. If he's gonna make you his wife and he's looking at you as being a mother of his kids, all of these things are important. He wants his children to grow up in an environment that's safe and sanitary. He wants his kids to have food that's good and nutritious so they can grow strong and do well in school. I mean, these are all things that's like basic stuff that you should understand. I should even have to explain this to you, but I'm doing it anyway because I want to make the video very clear for those maybe, who's maybe young and don't really know. So you don't think about that kind of stuff. You got a bunch of junk sitting around everywhere. Dudes don't want to see that shit. And then another thing that you need to do is think about presenting yourself as somebody who's interesting enough that you can invite him into your world. Now, what does that mean? Okay, a lot of women have this thing where, um, okay, say they have plans with their girlfriends, right? And then the dude calls, oh, can we get together? Okay, he's all spontaneous thinking, that that's romantic or whatever. And a lot of you will call your friends and say, girl, I can't go because, so and so called and I'm fixing to go out with him. Okay, that is a mistake. Number one, you're giving him too much priority in your life. And number two, it shows yourself as being desperate and stupid. It's like you have no life other than him. That's what you're communicating. Nobody likes that. I mean, he'll be flattered for maybe 10 seconds, and then he'll start, getting that surge of big-headedness where he thinks he's running you. Stop doing that. If he calls you and you already have plans, say, oh, I'm sorry, I already have plans. That sounds like a lot of fun. I really would have liked to do that. But I'm free on Friday. Does that work? You see what I mean? You don't slam them. You don't need to cuss them or whatever. You give him an alternative, but you let him know. You don't run shit here, motherfucker. This is my life. It's already planned out, and you got to get in where you fit in. He will respect you for that. And then he will do more to make sure that he gets on your calendar earlier instead of waiting till the last fucking minute like that. Don't ever let a man do that last minute shit unless you all like engaged or some shit. And he already knows pretty much knows what your schedule is because he's that involved in your life. But you have friends, you got a family event, you going to a barbecue, you going to a wedding, a coworker's retirement party, anywhere where it's appropriate for you to bring a date, bring him. Invite him. Let him come into your world. Don't go solo. Bring him. You hanging out with your friends, you let him come. Just invite him to come. I mean, as long as it's okay with your friends. Don't just bring him and it's like a whole bunch of women and they was looking forward to doing girl talking and here's this man. Don't do that. I mean, call him and ask him if it's okay. And if it's okay, then bring him. Let them meet him. Let them interact with him. Let him see your friends. Let them laugh and joke together. Let them have a good time. And see, he gets to see a portion of your world that he would normally not get to see. That's very important for him to develop an attachment to you, even more so than he would have if he just spent all his time with you by just the two of you. Another thing that you need to do is encourage. How do I put this? It's kind of it's what my grandmother used to call using your feminine wiles. But basically, what you want to do is find opportunities to let him feel like he's, leading something and being a decision maker and feeling all manly and shit. That's basically what you want to do. I don't know other way to put it. But let me give you an example. Okay, because a lot of dudes do this, right? They say, oh, let's get together on whatever night, right? You say, okay. This motherfucker comes and picks you up. What do you want to do? What? You haven't made any plans? Okay, see, then a lot of you think, okay, well, I need to help him, so I'm going to pipe up with some suggestions. Don't do that. What you do is say, just surprise me. Or, let's do, what comes to your mind. Flip that shit back on his ass. Don't make him make you responsible like that. He needs to take you out. He asked you out. He needs to plan the date. He needs to do all the work involved with the outing. That's his fucking job. So don't you do it for him. Now, the trick though is after he does that, you have to give him a reward. It's like giving him a Scooby snack. So he does all the stuff right. And you be like, oh my God, that was so much fun. Thank you, honey. Blah, 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 whatever you want to do, however you do it. But the bottom line is give him some ego reinforcement for stepping up and doing some shit that he was already supposed to be doing when he asked you to fuck out in the first place. But whatever. A lot of these dudes don't have any, like I said before, they don't have any man teaching them all this kind of stuff. So, kind of falls on you to guide them to where they need to be. But that's how you do it. So, you let him know that you appreciated him taking you out and surprising you with a date and doing whatever. And then he'll be more likely to do it again. And he'll feel more confident that he can please you, which is a very important part of a man falling in love. He's got to know that he can make you happy and that what he does for you is stuff that you like. And then the final point that I think is very important is that you have to present yourself as a player on his team. Now, a lot of women are like, well, his ideas are stupid, this and that. Okay, if that's what you really think, that means you're with the wrong man. The guy that you should be with is someone whose goals, whose future, whose path you can sign on with. If that's not the case and you really feel like, what he's talking about is nothing that you want to be involved in, get rid of him. That's what dating is about. I have to keep emphasizing that. Just because you're going out with somebody, that doesn't mean that he's supposed to be a long-term partner. That might be a month dude. That might be a 2-week dude. That might be a 3-date dude. I mean, you know what I mean? You got to think about this kind of stuff and make sure you guys are on the same page. So, some of these dudes, they start talking all that polygyny shit. Okay, next. Or they start talking about, they want a woman to submit. Next, they want somebody who be obedient. I even saw this shit where they was talking about what was it called? Domestic something obedient. Well, anyways, obedience training. The dude's spanking his wife's ass to make her do what he wanted to do was some crazy shit. I don't know. I can't remember the name of it right now. But I was like, okay, next. So you have to really figure out if the guy that you're dealing with and you are on the same page. You gotta have a situation where you guys are willing to work together as a team, and that means you have to have the same vision. You have to be standing next to each other, looking forward and seeing the same thing. If what you're talking about is what he's talking about are two different things, that's never gonna work. It's never going to work. And it's not his responsibility to take care of you or yours, to slave around and take care of him, doing his bidding like a fucking Stepford wife. But you got to understand that if that's the kind of man that you have and those are his expectations, is that really the man for you? I mean, be honest with yourself. Don't think about, well, I can do it because I really want to be married. Don't do that to yourself, because you're going to be one of them statistics of the women, the 80% of women filing for divorce in about 5 or 10 years, where you get sick of that shit. So be honest with yourself from the get-go. Men, I mean, for the most part, they want like some peace and tranquility, and they complain a lot about women nagging, but I talk about that too. It's like, if you did what she asked you to do, motherfucker, she wouldn't have to say it again and again and again, which what you call nagging, because she would be done. So to me, that's the man's fault, but I'm just throwing that in there because that's one of the things that they bitch and complain about, is women, nagging them, and that is a turnoff, and that makes them not want to commit. So I'm thinking, you follow these things, execute them in the way that works for your personality and your situation. But just keep these things in mind. These are, I'd say, 70-80% of men are looking for these kinds of things in a relationship. They're going to vary, of course, in importance depending on the guy. And there's some guys are going to have different ones. I mean, like, some guys are really, really good cooks, so they don't care that you don't cook because they're cook. I mean, there's going to be some differences there that you have to investigate as you go out here dating and meeting guys. But I'm just saying, if you have these things in place and you present yourself this way, you can pretty much get any guy to fall in love with you. I mean, it's really not hard. They are very intrigued by women who present themselves this way. And especially if you're pretty, you be fighting them off and, trying to pick and choose which one to get engaged with. So that's my viewpoint on this whole thing. It's not rocket science. It's not difficult. It does require, though, some mental adjustments in many women who have a more independent mindset. You're used to doing things your own way, and I'm that kind of way myself. So, I have accepted that marrying again is probably not for me, because I just refuse to do any of this stuff. But you guys who are young and you haven't had that experience yet, and you want to get married, you want to have a family, consider these points, and look at the man that you're dealing with and really investigate how his mind works and what his expectations are. And I'm pretty sure that you'll find that the majority of them have some variation of this list on their mind when they're looking for a wife. This is Deb Cooper from survivingdating.com, askheartbeat.com, and you can find my books on dating and relationships on amazon.com. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Thank you for watching, and thanks everybody for subscribing and sending me your suggestions for videos. I really appreciate it. Bye-bye.